It's JedtheSloth, the MILF Hunter. How your mom and them? And you're tuned in to episode 8 of the Playbaw Podcast.
With John Teller.
John Teller, what did you eat today?
Oh, what did I eat today? Baked chicken with peas and mashed potatoes and gravy was e-meal at work.
What is e-meal?
It is a free meal that a restaurant job gives you. Usually at it's like a classic tradition in like French kitchens and fine dining. So
I didn't know that's where it came from, but why is it? Why is it an E? I thought it was like a family meal or
employee meal. It's just short for employee meal.
Yeah. Back when I worked at Slice Pizzeria in New Orleans on Magazine Street, we used to have shift meal.
Yeah, same shit.
And you would come with a beer.
We're at the Centraplex by the River Center, right in front of the entrance of the theater. You'd get kicked out of here immediately if you tried skating here.
For people who might not know, where are you from?
Baton Rouge, Louisiana, born and raised.
Well, you're from Denham Springs?
Nah,
You're from Port Allen?
Nah.
You're from Zachary?
Nah, dog. Baton Rouge. Everybody like to claim Baton Rouge, where they be from, Denham and Prairieville. Now I do roam Prairieville and Denham.
Running them roads.
Yeah, running them roads. But shout out Lou. Yeah, Baton Rouge though. You know.
What part of Baton Rouge?
That dirty doa for most part.
That dirty doa.
That dirty doa.
I can get you through that motherfucker with my eyes closed, bro. Used to run them streets heavy.
Them Shenandoah streets.
I grew up on the very, very last street, the back street.
Cass would say I was a backstreet boy.
That sounds like something Cass would say.
Yeah. I was actually writing some shit earlier, and one of the lines was something about being JT, no NSYNC.
I'd fucking skate all the way to the front to go to Ruckus all the time. It'd take me like 30, 45 minutes.
How old was you?
When I started doing the skating to Ruckus, I was probably like 11.
Kid from Shenandoah, growing up around what years were your young days?
I mean, I guess you could really call them, the early 2000s. It was a millennial, right before technology was going crazy. Skateboarding and all types of shit was going on really big in Shenandoah. So that's what started a lot of what I'm into nowadays was skateboarding.
Because that's City Hall right behind us, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it. This is one of the most famous spots. You'll probably see a lot of Baton Rouge videos with this and that 5-stair over there in it. I'm sure if you were here during the day on a weekday, they'd probably still kick you out. Feels good getting back in it. At least I got an ollie down this motherfucker.
Jones Creek and O'Neill Lane. So that's two, I guess, iconic areas of Baton Rouge.
We would go to Grand Cinema, which was the small theater behind the Taco Bell on George O'Neill.
Because we didn't really have the rave, which is something we'll probably get on. We didn't have that at first. We didn't have really big movie theaters besides Tinseltown. My mom and dad didn't want to bring us there. It was too far.
I saw Bruce Almighty in Tinseltown. Many other things, but for some reason I remember seeing Bruce like late era Tinseltown. I saw Bruce Almighty there.
After growing up and realizing Segan wasn't that far, I used to talk to my mom about, why didn't you want to bring me to Tinseltown? Dad brought me to see Meet the Deedles, if you remember that.
I ain't thought about that.
Yeah, we saw that in Tinseltown. That was one of the few movies I saw there.
Meet the Deedles.
Probably the first Harry Potter, too, right before it shut down. Yeah. I want to say. It might have been the rave by then, though.
Tinseltown. That was just a cool name. Tinseltown. It was off Segan.
Yeah.
Kind of. It was like back there by like Shoe Carnival and shit back there.
It was more by like Walmart.
Lowe's and shit.
It was like its own standalone where kind of, I want to say where like Kohl's would be now.
That's where Topgolf is now?
For sure. Actually, now that you say that, that's exactly where it was.
Dude, I wish I could like...
It's hard to remember exactly where it was because I was young then.
Wish I could have got like a shot out in front of that bitch.
I know, right?
Where it was going.
There were some pictures circulating in the Urbex world of the inside for a while. Might be able to find them still. Who knows? But it was kind of run down by then.
Before we break off into way too far into Baton Rouge department store lore.
That's how we be.
My wheels are turning, but the road sits still. My wheels are turning, but the road sits still. My wheels are turning, but the road sits still. Moving too fast, you know the deal. My wheels are turning, but the road sits still. Moving too fast, you know the deal.
And I was still like full scene kid, listening to like My Chemical Romance and shit with them fucking fingerless gloves. Fingerless fallen gloves at that skateboard company. They took a long hiatus like S's did, but S's are back, and it's like part of this whole big turnaround with like the chunky Y2K skate shoes that are going on now. Everybody's doing retros like Jordans do. So you see Vans like dropping old Jeff Rallies and shit now. Or S's dropping old Chad Muskas.
So, but you were skating by 11?
Oh, I started at 9. I think Ruckus opened in like 2001.
Oh, you just went and hung out at Ruckus first? Before you even skated, or you skated first?
Nah, the first time, I would always pass up Ruckus with my dad. So, the gas station we would go to when he would pick me up, either after school or after a little one's daycare, we'd go get an icy and shit. And that's kind of where like my love for music started too, because we would like sing along to Led Zeppelin and AC/DC and stuff. But that gas station was like right across the street from the shopping center that Ruckus was in. And so back then, one of the most famous spots was also that little 4-stair that you could walk up to get to the little strip mall that Ruckus was also in. So there was always kids skating out there, and I think that's kind of where I like first piqued my interest. It was probably also Tony Hawk games, you know, just him getting me something that he thought I might be into for the 64.
Yeah.
But I think falling
cartridge.
in love with yellow was the first one. I want to say.
Cartridge. Wow.
One of them was blue, but yeah,
I
there
remember
was a
the
yellow
blue cartridge.
I'm not sure, to be honest. Now you might be right on that. We'll have to fact check that.
You were cool if
pop
you had
it
the
up
blue
somewhere over here. You know what I'm saying?
Chat, get in that one.
I had a Dave Mirra game that I fucking ran into the ground.
And Matt Hoffman. The
Yeah.
Matt Hoffman games were sick.
They had just built the academy on Segan. I was 9, and my dad and me went there, and I got a Rocket Power skateboard.
Rocket Power.
This was around the time that Academy was first opening, I want to say, because
Academy Sports and Outdoors.
that's why we were there. You know, just
My
walking
dad
around
used to take me
because it
to
was
Academy. That was like something you
fresh.
did for a son, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You can knock 45 minutes out like that, an hour out quick.
And you know, you see a Rocket Power Rocket Power anything. Fuck if it's a skateboard. You know, you gonna go crazy at that time.
Rocket Power. I ain't thought about that in a while.
Right? So I got it, and I actually like was kind of taking it seriously for like the whole year. It took me a long time to be able to ollie and like kind of get good and comfortable on it.
But I was like really taking it serious, and so for like a year or two, I had to beg for a real skateboard, you know, and go to the skate shop.
Skateboarding was booming at the time.
Where were you skating at the time?
Mostly at my elementary school.
Really?
Yeah, because there was like the part where you would pull up for carpool. It was like a long sidewalk, so you could have a ledge to ride off or ollie off of once you got good enough. And there was like a little part in the parking lot that kind of dipped on both sides. That was kind of used as like a faux ramp type of deal.
I remember I'd be driving down the street with my mom and my dad, like you're talking about, I'd look for stuff.
Yeah, by 11, I was actually like getting pretty good.
you know, once my dad also realized I was taking it seriously, you know, Academy was selling little
Dude
shitty
saw you hit a
plastic
kickflip. He's like,
ramps.
holy shit.
Yeah. It did take a year, and I would like bring my skateboard to the Breck summer camp, and kids there skated too.
Yeah.
So, you know, that kind of pushes you to get better. And
Yeah, you saw some other kids and was like,
Right.
holy shit. Like,
then you want the real board, you know, and that's when I first go to Ruckus. I want to say I got my first real board at 11 or 12. And, you know, like going and dad kind of being like, $150 fucking dollars. God damn, I guess we'll get it since we're halfway through picking it out. Like, you know, that's a lot of money back in what?
you're reminding me of like baseball bats with
Yeah.
my mom and stuff.
Yeah, same thing, you know.
It's like, I heard a
Baseball bat's always been expensive, especially now. God damn. I be hearing my
Dude, that's a nice little, like, and if you got like two of them or whatever, like,
What?
and I heard a comedian recently say, like, you can't just like hand it off to the next kid. Like, why do y'all all need one? Yeah, dude.
Yeah, everybody needed a $300 bat.
I had this one neighbor that was always like a different family moving in. So at like 11, this one family moves in, and the dude's like a younger guy, mid 30s to early 40s, and he was a pillhead. But him and my dad connected through music, and he would give my dad like CDs and shit. That's how my dad started listening to like Acid Bath and all that. And this guy would come like get fucked up. Yeah. He would get fucked up and like build me shit to skate and like help me learn how to do it out there too. So like me, him, and my dad would be out there building a fucking quarter pipe.
Did the Velodrome skate park open yet?
Yeah. That was open for a while, I'm pretty sure. But it was like, by the time I started going, it was all like shitty, and like some of the stuff was built out of wood and falling apart.
I ended up probably going a total of like 5 or 6 times. The Velodrome was still open when I was in middle school, and that's when I had probably the most friends to skate with.
Yeah.
They
They started falling off quick, I bet, when they found out it was fucking very hard.
He had like ended up building me like a fun box too. It was like a 7-foot long box. It was like 5 feet wide. It had coping on one side, 2 flat ramps, which they're called banks, like one on either side. So if you had enough speed, you could like transfer. And then like that started and had a bank up top going down. And I like really fucked my back up one time on that shit. That was kind of when I slowed down on skating.
So you ended up getting hurt.
Oh yeah, I was out for a while.
How old were you then?
I was like 12.
Yeah. Were you ever thought about being a professional skater like back then?
Oh yeah, but I, started.
Was there a lane for like that in BR? Like,
I could have tried to get with Ruckus at least. Like all the guys that would come and skate at my house were sponsored by Ruckus at the time, because there was a couple older guys that were in high school that lived down my street that skated.
So Ruckus was able to sponsor kids.
Yeah, and that's how I found out about Bape too. Was one of the older kids was like, I to this day I can't find the song. I've been looking for it lately. There's like a rap song about a guy skating in bathing apes that we used to listen to.
Once I was like getting good and other friends are like quitting, or they don't really want to like go out, and like they're not there to be pushing themselves and getting this kickflip down a 5 stair or heel flip down this fucking gap or something, they're there. I started kind of befriending like the older cats. There was a couple guys that lived down the street from me that also went to like youth groups. So they were kind of like pushing me to go to a church deal, but they were also like the punk kids that like went to church. It was kind of a thing back then. You know what I'm talking about.
Well,
like,
dude, crazy. People go crazy for Jesus.
Yeah.
God is good. You don't,
amen. A bunch of people just, amen.
Did you ever go to a church?
Yeah. I actually went to Woodlawn Baptist, and the youth group counselor convinced them to let me and my friends skate the 5 stair at the front of it. So we would go to youth group. I was pretty much as good at the Awana shit, so I could get, like the candy and all that. And then I'd go skate the fucking front.
I was telling you the other day, I've been to lock-ins and shit. That was like my way as That was like me and my buddy from the west side of the River's Way to get into like Baton Rouge and do shit. It was like, oh, it's at a church.
Right, right.
Type shit. They knew that.
That us too. So like the
cool youth pastor kid knew that.
Exactly. The youth counselor or whatever you want to call him.
Old boy off of Gemstones. The Righteous Gemstones.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like always trying to link with the youth, like to be cool and shit.
Oh, my guy was almost just like Adam's character, except he had like tats, and he would do like sermons on how like the Bible says you're not supposed to do that to your body, but like Jesus understands that you're just expressing yourself, and
he's like,
it's like,
getting
bro, I'm
spiritual with these like.
I'm 13, I don't have tattoos.
Yeah, getting hella spiritual with these like 16-year-olds. Right. We would go to Montreat College in North Carolina every summer. That was like, that was like a almost like a mini introduction to college. But just way out in the fucking mountains with kids from fucking all over. You'd fall in love for like a week and you have to go home, never see her again.
So like I started going to that non-denominational church with the older guys. And at the time I had like a bunch of little ramps and rails. And we'd kind of just like make my driveway a skate park if we weren't going to Shenandoah or right outside. You know, like Albertsons on Jones Creek and George O'Neill. They had a really sick, like, on-ramp kind of deal to their, like, loading dock area. And some kids had drilled angle liner onto the sides.
What is angle liner?
It's like a perfectly angled piece of metal that you can buy.
Oh, okay, I see.
You know, like Home Depot or something.
So to make a lip.
Yeah, yeah. Something that you could actually, like, grind and skate on. And so eventually that was like a big spot that skateboarders and BMXers would go. But
the
then
Albertsons on Jones Creek?
Yeah, behind it.
And the people, how was like the Albertsons people?
Oh, they hated it. Oh, fucking hated it. Because there's like on the other side where like the 18-wheelers would pull up to, there was like a little ledge
so
that
you
could skate to. Well, we would go during the day. It's just go until you get kicked out, and when they go back in, maybe skate it again more until they actually call the cops, and then you really leave.
Like kids.
Yeah, but I mean, you see like pro skaters in the videos, like running from doing security, and they're partying and drinking and shit while they're at like a high school for a spot or something.
Hey, it made it look cool.
Yeah, of course. You want to be that, you know.
How long did you skate for?
Consecutively, I probably skated for about 7 years. So like up until like 16. Running into a friend from elementary school going into middle at a different youth group. He went to a different one and invited me at one point to go to this Baptist church. And so I was like, yeah, cool, I'll come. And I see the front of it, and it's Woodlawn Baptist, you know, the school that's down the street from Ruckus, coincidentally. Well, they got a sick 5 stair at the front of it. So that's where I learned, like, challenging myself with big gaps and going down stuff that might actually hurt you.
Yeah, you're maybe one of the most, like, daring people I know.
That's probably where it comes from.
But I had gotten good because I would keep all my boards and shit. And, you know, I would lay them sideways, so not like lengthwise, but I could ollie at like 7 or 8 boards at the time, like longer than how tall I was, for sure.
Skateboarding gets a really bad, I guess, a stigma behind it, you know, and it gets a bad rep. But if you have a young child that like really pushes skateboarding hard in their life, then I think it's something that will help them out later on, because it takes resilience to even just skate for multiple years consistently, whether you get super good or not.
You gotta be like in the club, you gotta be dedicated.
Everything is like muscle memory too, so if you haven't done it a million times, you can't like remember, you know. And it's like, to me, it's another form of creating too, because like that's where skating becomes something special. Because like there's still your own style and stuff, and like how you do things, how you flow into other tricks. So to me, like, it's another form, another way to get into that flow state. And like I was just talking to a friend the other day when we were skating. I'm trying to get my kick flips back because I suck and I'm getting old nowadays. But the best times that I have and the times that I actually land it is when I'm like in that flow state. You know, for a second I finally zone out after I get my footing right, and then my body knows what to do. You know, so like when I'm like focusing on it too hard and like kicking my own ass, of course you're not going to make it. Like any skateboarder you talk to will tell you it's 85% confidence. Like if you don't know you're going to make that trick going down them stairs, whether you think you are or not, if you don't like tell yourself that you know it, you're not getting it anyway. And that's with anything, you know.
Well, and then there's probably nothing like the feeling when you land that new.
Oh my God, yeah. And then everybody, like all your homies are clapping or throwing their boards and you're fucking screaming. And yeah, it's a wonderful time. Everybody celebrates it. I might still have it. I used to have like the top wooden piece of a quarter pipe, which is the deck. They call it the deck. And they all like signed it when my parents divorced and they split up, and I like took the top piece with me. So like music was always still important too, because my dad was heavy into it. Sound engineering was really kind of his dream. So he had like a, you know, like the little extra room that you would have in some houses. It was like his music room, you know, so he had a stereo system and stuff, and we would always blare music. And like my grandparents had played on his side a bunch of different instruments. Because I was going to Woodlawn so much, because I enjoyed that 5-star, really reconnecting with my boy Josh, because we were super close in first grade. We just went separate ways because of different schools and stuff. That like rekindled wanting to do music, because growing up listening to it and singing along with my dad, it made me want to be that first. You know, Josh played drums. Usually the hardest part to find for a band is a drummer.
Kid with a drum set.
Exactly.
Or a kid with a drum set who's actually worth the shit.
Right.
And that was usually the best drummers that I saw growing up. I remember me and Turk Tom would go around like our older brother at Insomniacs and just house shows and shit. And them were the craziest, what I consider most talented drummers I ever seen was in that scene.
Bro, the BR scene at that time is still, to me, super slept on. Like,
yeah,
the music that came out of that era is crazy and unmatched. I was lucky to experience some of it on the back end.
I'm hoping I can one day be dope to get a documentary about that or something. Maybe I can get a Louisiana Grand or something like that, along with my Wayne Tubes documentary.
Yeah.
So you ended up at Weed Lawn. You ended up at Woodlawn High. You met some of your earliest friends like around the Waffle House.
Yeah, on O'Neill.
I heard you and like Cass and like all sorts of people say that like the parents would drop them off at that Waffle House right there by the rave with the long ass parking lot. We were talking about that the other day, unnecessary ass long ass parking lot.
That they thought was gonna be packed every day.
Yeah, well, the rave did pretty good numbers, but you didn't need that much. Goddamn.
What are you, a mall? Like, come on. The only other thing you had at the time was Lone Star and LA Daiquiris.
I remember that parking lot was a huge deal.
Right, and they never, still to this day, ain't used half of that motherfucker.
No. Jesus Christ.
They don't even mow the shit
They
now.
gotta pay somebody probably just to be a security guard out there all the time. That'd be some stupid shit go viral.
Yeah.
Parking at the back of the rave parking lot, 2024.
You gotta have some fucking fat ass Jinkos, a South Pole shirt, Cookie Monster fitted hat.
Like eventually that started becoming a popping little section. But like when y'all were in 12 and 13, like pre-teen era?
For me, it was like 13, a little bit of 13, but like 14 and 15 until we stopped. Danny was definitely 12 or 13 when he first started going. R.I.P.
So your buddy Danny was a close friend of yours for many years, and you met him there. But you told me you met y'all, like, cause you had to cross O'Neill to go to Walmart. I Google Earth this. The Walmart's down a ways.
Yeah, a little bit.
So people could click up walking that away and then try. And there probably would be like little clusters of kids.
Yeah, like him and not gonna say names, but him and Sect were.
Yeah.
Shout out Sector 1.
Okay, so from that era.
Yeah, that's when I met him too. I met them the same night. Like they were click tight best friends first.
Shout out Sect. I think I got that footage. I think that's on the other drive. I don't think that's on the one that got corrupted.
But
Shout out Sect.
him and Danny were smoking a joint.
Okay,
It wasn't Sherm. It was shrooms. They had
my
ground
bad.
up.
I didn't mean to put Sherm on you like that.
Yeah, that's why I was like, oh yeah, let's just talk about it now. They had like dried up hydroponic mushrooms with some weed in a joint, and like it definitely works.
How old?
I mean, they were 13 probably, and I was 14, like fresh 14 when I met them. We had probably met like earlier in the night or one weekend before or something like that, but at this time, like they were in front of Taco Bell, and
Ain't that just the most?
Yeah, like standing at the road too, like with the joint.
Like fucking 13 years old with a mushroom joint.
Yeah,
outside
yeah.
Taco Bell off O'Neill.
Well, you know, denim kids, because see, like that's kind of where I want to say that the rave shit originated, was like mostly denim kids, trying to go somewhere else besides skate heaven.
Skate heaven. Did you ever go to Skate Heaven?
I did go a few times. That was like an exclusively Denham Springs kids thing almost.
I got invited to a couple of birthday parties and such, and like
Danny got banned at 12 for having like almost a gallon bag full of just like, it wasn't even like pills you get fucked up on. It was just like Advil,
but
and
just know those parents are like, no,
and
get
shit.
the fuck out of
here. Yeah,
here.
exactly. Bro, Skate Heaven was like a rave, dog. Because like I don't know if you remember,
like
but they had like the rink, and it was similar to Skate Galaxy.
I think it became a much more like teenagery thing. Like after I had stopped going. I went when I was like 12, dude.
They had like a room that was blacklight in the back. It like used to be probably a small laser tag.
Dude, laser tag was the best fucking part of Skate Heaven. That's what I was gonna say. Like I did laser tag every time.
At this point, it wasn't laser tag.
It was just I was no longer going.
It was just a blacklight room with a bunch of teenage kids making out and shit, drinking sodas and ices, like eating pizza. You know,
and there was like things to hide behind and shit.
Yeah, like some, you know, like the place like the Power Rangers would hang out at, get the smoothies, like some shit like that with a blacklight room. It was
like no one thought it through. Like
I don't know, but it would. I mean, the little
they had like obstacles and shit in there.
Well, eventually they had taken it all out, and it was literally just an empty blacklight room. And it's like,
it's
damn,
just drug addict training.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is kind of tight. Where's
this is kind of tight. So, but that you stayed a good deal of time in Denham Springs with Denham Springs kids.
Mostly because of meeting Danny. I just befriended Danny so well, and then my boys Andrew and Hance, we kind of like called ourselves the Goon Squad, you know. And that was like all the main Linda Road guys.
Linda Road, bro.
Yeah. That's where Danny grew up first. Dude. Well, not where he stayed first, but that's where we were when we first connected. I know, it's crazy. Where the real first band would start, but it was technically still the second band. Danny wasn't a part of the first one, but the drummer, Josh, that I met, reconnected with and all that, he was a part of the first main band and everything too. You know me, I'm fairly extroverted, but only once I get to know people. Well, Josh, complete opposite, like look at me type shit. Not even in a bad way, he's just like charismatic about it, you know. We would like start off jamming to songs that we liked, but I would scream and he would do drums, and we were just like a two-piece that was just like covering shit with just a drummer and a vocalist. We were doing that at my mom's apartment after my parents split. The maintenance man had come in on us one time doing it, and it was to We Ate the Horse You Rode In On by Vanna, one of my favorite bands at that time. We were hanging out in Prairieville a good little bit anyway because of my friend Brendan. His cousin Trevor was the house that we would hang out at. Dude with the dreads, white guy. Yeah. Trevor knows this dude, Josh, and he's like, y'all could probably practice at Josh's house, but he's probably going to want to be a part of the band. But he's super cool. And, you know, we're young, and we're like, all right, yeah, fucking right. So we get to Josh's, and he's like, well, I'm a vocalist, too. And it's like, well, there's 3 Joshes now, so that would be kind of sick. Josh, and John. So we just run it. We don't even have a bassist. We decide we're going to call ourselves Meet Your Maker. It's kind of like a push against the Christianity that we all were kind of growing up in. Who shows up? Brandon Lee. And little 12 or 13-year-old Brandon is like just cutting up because it's some shitty metal, you know. Josh's mom, the vocalist, shows up. She gets pissed off that we're playing music, even though everybody was like, oh yeah, we could play at Josh's. So then Brandon's like, oh, well, we could totally do it at my house. So we convinced Trevor's dad to pack up all our shit, and they help us get all our stuff, and we fucking pull up, and we're in Bishop Woods. If you don't know, is like the most hood, one of the most hood parts of Prairieville. It's like the shitty ass trailer park.
But he just wanted to hang. He's like, yeah, sure, we can do it.
Yeah, we ended up practicing there. Fucking Josh Mullins, the guitarist, this dude is probably almost 20, so he like shouldn't even be hanging out with us. Brandon's mom wasn't home at the time, and she got home. She was pissed, but she ended up going inside and not giving a fuck.
Y'all were in like a shed?
We were outside on the back porch.
Oh.
Because there was like a little tiny piece of concrete in the back, and we just running extension cords inside.
And didn't give a shit. Y'all were in a trailer park just fucking.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
That's how me and Mike used to be.
We played a couple shows. We kind of like veered away for a quick sec. Meet Your Maker splits, and Josh does something with a couple other guys that he meets, and I'm trying to start something with Danny, and Teddy says he'll play drums. We need to join forces because Danny's pretty fucking good at guitar, and Josh has found a good guitarist and a bassist, so we could like really make something here.
And that's when you formed
Meet Me on the Playground.
Yeah, so it was like 2008 or 9. We were like deathcore, but we didn't have like serious lyrics. We were definitely like crabcore kind of shit influence, you know, like the Attack stuff, and My Children, My Bride was more hardcore sounding, but they didn't
like
really
loose
have
tank tops.
serious lyrics. Yeah, tank tops or deep V-necks and super skinny jeans.
Like that picture you showed us that time.
100. That's actually after the High Ground show. That's me, Fuzzy, Ian, aka Loose Bolts, Danny, and Big Danny. So we had a little and a Big Danny.
That was my first like real introduction. I wouldn't even like necessarily call it successful because.
But you were definitely went up and up and up.
Right, like.
You like played out of town.
Yeah, I mean, when you really look at it, the band wasn't anything but 6 months. We did
Really?
it was a part of our lives for about 1.5, 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
But like that 6 months was when we like traveled. We were playing shows.
We played at like Insomniacs and this place called The Warehouse in Prairieville that was really just a dude's warehouse he was like throwing shows there at the time.
We did quite a few in Baton Rouge, a few in Prairieville. We were going to Underground Sea in New Iberia.
Yeah, I bet you if you name drop that in front of like Mike from OP
Cajun Joe Pesci.
or some other like metalheads out here, they'll be like, what the fuck?
What?
The Underground Sea. It was just the music. It was their dark room.
Our last show was a headlined local show at the High Ground before it turned into the Cypress.
So what you were playing like Dark Room and Insomniacs?
I did not play the Dark Room. It had shut down before we became a band.
They had the one last metal fest. I forget what it was called, but it was like 2 to fucking 9 or 10.
So that just like mainly hardcore and rock stuff like.
What, the Dark Room? I mean, yeah, but really the only things that that were big at that time, you know, like no underground rappers were coming through because no one really truly big played at the Dark Room. You know,
No, yeah, that was a straight scene.
Yeah.
that was my introduction. That and Insomniacs, but I went to Insomniacs first. But whenever I went to the Dark Room, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, see, like Insomniacs was more
Like
any
kids could
genre
go
and
there.
poetry and
Yeah.
all types of stuff, but Dark Room was like hardcore centric, you know.
Fucking Insomniacs was a coffee shop,
Yeah.
sold art, and they did tattoos, and like
Yeah.
kids could come. Like like the Dark Room was like.
I mean, it was an all ages venue, you know, and
It
they didn't
was?
sell. Yeah, they didn't sell
Dark
alcohol
Room
or
was
nothing.
like, it was dark.
Yeah, mostly because they didn't really want to pay for lights and shit. Probably.
It was dingy. It was like a brick building.
It was an
just,
old
like, in the
pizza restaurant.
middle of the fucking just like nowhere, like parking lot, way down Florida, like in that
Right.
middle ground of Florida.
It's right by the pawn shop, in between the American pawn shop and the fucking Popeyes.
Is that
right by
building still there?
Yeah, it's like it was a Chinese restaurant for a little bit. I don't know what it is now, to be real
That's
with you.
crazy. I haven't even like thought to look. Like, Check
I
it
do
out.
look at it every time I pass it up, but it's been a
Man,
minute.
that's like an era, dude.
Oh yeah, I mean full on memory.
I saw a band, at least one band there that actually got kind of big, the Midnight Ghost Train, and I had like their first little demo. I think it was hand, like they wrote on it, and like it was a CD.
Right.
2008 had to be. It had like 3 songs on it. You let the last song stop.
A little secret.
Yeah.
Everybody was doing that back in the day.
Okay, so that was like a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So like if you let it play, it's like dude was like fish fried over a taco.
Yeah.
Fish fried over. He was like doing like that, and I remember I seen them on Facebook, like blowed up.
Yeah.
They're doing European tours. They're like million followers type shit. It was some random post I saw. It had something to do with like, what's your favorite song, whatever. And I remember I just typed in fist fight over a taco, and the actual fucking account replied to me like, holy shit.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, they definitely had like big bands in that kind of scene. You know, like Lygia played. Death Before Dishonor played a bunch.
Yeah, in the scene. That was a true scene. You know,
Life Ruiner was supposed to play a bunch, but they ditched on the show like I think 3 or 4 times in a row. That we called them Show Ruiner. That happened so much.
Yeah,
I actually saw Vanna there. So like young me was like life fulfilled type shit at the dark room, seeing Vanna before they
So you got to see them.
Yes.
At the dark room.
Yeah. And Lygia played that same show. So if you've ever heard that it's like Southern hardcore that I play on our road trip sometimes, like the Johnny Cash song, and like the Bad News and all that, they played that show as well, and Dr. Acula too, which was kind of like the style of stuff that we played in Meet Me on the Playground. Was like Dr. Acula was like your pre-Attila type of deal, you know, like take the music seriously, but it's about partying, and you don't necessarily have serious lyrics and silly tracklist names and shit like that.
Yeah.
Josh and Danny get in a big argument, and we practice at Josh's house. And so they like get in a big fight, and Josh quits the band. And so like Josh was one of the main guy that booked our shows and shit.
That argument kind of led to the end of it.
Yeah, we had played some shows, probably 3 shows, but one of them was bad because we had fucking rolled the whole night before. We got like a 20-pack. Yeah, today I took like at least 2 hours, 3 hours, huh? Yeah. Fucking folded them, bagged them up, and tagged them. Took forever.
From the morning to the evening, I'm creating, writing, working, and painting. It's outrageous. Surrounded by the hustlers, it's contagious. Not a buster in my station, no relation, correlation, doing acquaintance. Don't make us more than strangers. Ain't no time to be wasted. Just practice your craft and meditation. My team accelerating.
So, I mean, you were big into music, young like that, but how'd you transition into like rap and hip hop?
Well, I fell in love with hip hop early on. Like before all this, like 4th grade, getting introduced to Linkin Park is probably what I would have to dial it down to. So like listening to Hybrid Theory for the first time was not only like completely life-changing, but it's like all these different genres coming at you at once. And I don't even know how, because you can ask people today that call themselves Linkin Park fans, and a lot of them still are like, well, I've never listened to Reanimation. But that's technically their second album.
Yeah.
So Reanimation was like remixes and remakes of Hybrid Theory, but maybe DJ Cutmaster Kurt remixed a song, or maybe they had Pharaoh Monch do a verse on this remake. It like introduced me into all these true underground, like for the culture, like hip hop purist type shit.
Yeah, back then it was something like that, or like a video game or something like that I had to get exposed to in the South, to like East Coast
That's
hip-hop.
probably my second thing too, was like video games. NBA Street, NBA
Stuff
Street
like
2, NFL Street games and
baseball
shit like that.
games would have like random good hip hop. Dilated People.
Bro, Dilated Peoples. That's like
stuff like that.
people don't even know about dilated pupils no more. But like dilated pupils,
People
under the stairs.
yeah.
Whoa, we just did that fucking naturally. That was crazy.
Those are probably the two I can
Holy
name.
shit.
Just because of
Yeah, no, but
like
those-
MLB.
those are like
shows
your-
06.
you're like enlightened, or like what people today would call like woke hip hop too. Like old school shit.
or MTV.
Yeah, yeah.
Stuff like that. I mean, I remember,
For us, it was Fuse.
I remember that. Hold you down.
It was like Fuse mostly just because they covered Warped Tour, and you know
Yeah.
that's like a
Stuff like that.
that's like a dream. Go to Warped Tour.
MTV too was like
all that
so
shit.
rad for like a span of years.
Yeah,
there.
for sure.
You didn't like know quite what you was watching, but you were like, this feels more like me.
Actually, funny thing. One of the first guys that I like skated hardcore with, he's like who I got good with and shit. We would like practice writing lyrics together before any of us were in bands or trying to be. And I had wrote down the lyrics of When I'm Gone and was like, yeah, check these lyrics out that I wrote. I'm working on these, by Eminem though. When I'm Gone, he's like, is this Eminem? I'm like,
But
yeah,
that
it's
was,
Eminem.
But that was you like first starting to try to write.
yeah, for sure.
Well, how old were you?
That was like 11, 12.
I wrote my first song at 12. I was like almost the same thing. Like it was that song from Family. A dude named Family had come out, and like I'd be watching like 106 in Park at like 12.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you feel me, throw your bowls up. I like literally wrote in that same cadence, basically in my head to that beat. And it's like back then, you didn't have like, I don't know, that was just a song I heard on like 106 in Park. Like you
Right.
had to have the beat in your head type shit. So like that was just the first time I wrote as well, some shit like that. But like, so you started writing young, but it's like it was harder to like have a lane to do it, to exercise it back then.
Yeah. A lot of my friends, nobody really listened to rap. Like everybody was hardcore on Under Oath and Emery, Ass Cities Burn at the time. But I'm like listening to Reanimation over and over and over, and I found Eminem and stuff. And don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Eminem fan.
So a lot of us
But-
gotten her out, yeah.
What I take away most from becoming a fan of Eminem was being able to learn about 50 Cent.
Oh yeah.
Because if you know me, that's like one of my top rappers. That was on my list too. Like 50 Cent.
Yeah, you're a big 50 Cent guy. Another guy that I've been following for years in the like underground scene, Mr. Cisco.
Yeah.
He's a big 50 Cent guy.
Just the genius of, like people don't really always regard 50 Cent as like a rapper, but like a great one. But like the business mindset, how he was like coinciding his albums with movies that he's writing, starring, producing, directing,
Bulletproof.
which is kind of like another, full circle kind of thing. I was talking about like synchronization a second ago, that like now, like never did I think that I would be trying to like film and take my own pictures and stuff like that. And I mean, I also thank you for that, falling in love with doing that kind of thing.
Yeah. We almost seem to have this sort of deal going on throughout life, but it's like, you had kind of, I think, was already like I would go to you for questions pretty early on.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely.
Yeah, so but we were coming up
photo.
on it.
I was just like at the time when we first
Yeah.
met, I was like trying to do just photos.
Yeah, and
no
then,
more
like,
so.
We did the activist video, and we filmed that a couple Rio Rosa performances
Yep.
together.
Well, one of the Rio Rosa ones ended up being for that other band as well.
Yes. So the first band was when they had the female singer I remember she had that big purple jumpsuit.
Yeah, the
on.
purple jumpsuit.
They were a
yeah.
ship of fools.
And she was going crazy on that mic. She had some good vocals.
So then they changed that lineup change, and I had filmed something for them, and then they didn't know what they were going to change their name to, so I just named them Not Ship of Fools on there, and I called them that.
Ship of Fools.
Not Ship of Fools,
Yeah.
and then they finally changed to Favorite Friend. And then the girl, like he got me his sister, where we filmed his sister for that watch company.
Yeah, yeah.
They forgot about that.
Holy shit, yeah, I remember that now.
You've done more than you think.
Yeah.
Then we went on and we did tagging along, which is
a number of your videos, you know.
certainly, yeah. So we've done a lot of that kind of stuff together. When did you like legit start trying to perform as a rapper?
Probably 2011 or 12.
Okay,
And
so you're like 16 or 17 at this point?
Yeah.
Still a minor.
That Me and Me on the Playground had two vocalists for the majority of its life. They would like freestyle, but I was like, nah, I can't do it. I suck. I really just didn't want to try and embarrass myself and everything. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to like switch myself to the more rap style of writing. And the
Gotcha.
band was done.
Oh, the band was done. So, but Danny started getting into rap as well.
Yeah, so like Danny was taking the freestyling more serious and was like trying to start learning how to record himself and everything. And once they had convinced me to start doing it as well, I was like having a lot of fun with it. You know, at the time, I'm heavily listening to Tribe Called Quest and Gangstar and like Rakim, mostly because of Hance.
Oh, okay.
And so like during the Goon Squad heavy era, we're like listening to all of them. Kevin Gates is super huge. We're doing Nussy all the time. Wayne. So I'm getting like all these influences from the rap.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously
Hip-hop,
with
stuff and then BR shit.
yeah. And so like with bars and drugs in the equation, we're like freestyling down the street while we're cutting up in the car and all types of shit. So I got into performing after Danny's aunt and uncle had started this recording studio. It was called Fat Tone Studios. So Danny's uncle worked with Jonathan Boogie Long, the blues guy.
Yeah.
They're like best friends. Danny's uncle, he's like a long-time behind-the-scenes writer and stuff, helped him out with a bunch of stuff. They like came up together. Danny mentions that his aunt and uncle are doing this. His aunt's trying to do like the manager kind of thing. They started Fat Tone Studios, and his aunt was starting Swagger Rock ENT. She was trying to do
like
like
an entertainment completely.
Yeah, I was trying to be like a Savage Life, or you know, like the main record label or the main face of the movement type of deal. He's like, we need to go check it out. We might be able to get our songs recorded, and she's gonna start getting us on shows. Me and his uncle actually like really clicked because at the time I was trying to be like more kind of woke and just like I wouldn't try to cuss. I didn't want to like rap about the drugs and stuff unless I was like talking about the bad things about it and trying to stay positive as much as I could. And so we made like a couple like radio style songs. Like one was called How the World Is. We meet like these other rappers, Sam Savage, Monsta, and then Def Boy Matrix. Originally, they wanted us to like sign contracts because they were trying to get us to like, I think, pay them money to start doing label shit. It was weird. Or what she was saying was so we wouldn't have to pay like our fees to play at these shows that we're playing at. So this is like my real first introduction of pay to play. We're playing two songs here, 2 songs there, and I'm going under the moniker Testimony. So I'm not really like catching much traction, you know, because people are thinking I'm like a Christian rapper and all this. I start like making songs a little more similar to Danny's, and he had like come out with a song called Groovy Shit that was dope as hell. And I was always struggling with like getting my flow and not sounding uncomfortable on the track. I did end up doing a verse on that, and we would perform that a lot. And so like people would freak out about that because we're like 2 young kids that aren't supposed to be, 2 young white kids that aren't supposed to be in the club at all, much less on stage performing.
I know the effect like you talking about.
Like, yeah, like we played Groovy Shit at Club Strawberries in Ponchatoula. And I don't know why they even let us in, but they did. And we were like ordering beers and drinking.
You're still a minor?
Yeah. Oh yeah, 16. And there's these like ladies that are clearly almost 30. Like we're taking pictures with them. They're like caked up in makeup in the pictures. They look ratchet, but they're trying to like convince us to buy them drinks and like have them be models and videos and all this. So like we played one song.
Just at a bar in Louisiana, in Ponchatoula, having a good time.
Yeah.
On a Tuesday.
But we end up getting kind of like if you even would call it, like a fake, like a residency spot
Where?
at this club called Club Toxic
Come on, where is it at?
in the same fucking parking lot as Piggly Wiggly and the Plasma Center across the street from Earl K. Long.
Oh shit.
So what would suck about playing shows at this place is that it was all different types of bars before. And I've always been an ally. But when you tell people that you're trying to get to come to a rap show, especially in the early 2000s,
Yeah.
that you're playing a show at a club that used to be a gay bar,
Yeah,
people don't want to go.
exactly.
It used to be Club Dreams, Club Diamonds. It's been all types of shit.
Yeah.
But it's just like this shitty ass little building. So these people had kind of fixed it up a little bit and like painted checkers in front of the stage and put Dumb Zone in front of the checkers and so like we
gotta write that one down. Dumb Zone.
Yeah, like
Get
we
that
end up
recreated.
we end up opening for Level, Fox.
Come
I
on.
didn't get to play, but Danny ended up opening for Lil Flip.
Come on.
At the time,
Lil
at
Flip
least,
was my first
big artists
favorite
played
rapper.
there. Yeah,
That was my
a bunch
first-
of people. He was the freestyle king, you know?
Y'all, you opened for Level. I've heard this story before, but tell me where you opened up for him and what was it like?
So, really and truly, it's like what you see nowadays, where they use a somewhat bigger name, or maybe a bigger name, to get a bunch of people to perform 1 to 3 songs.
Yeah.
And they're just using that artist as like a platform to make people pay for that kind of shit.
Yeah.
So I ended up playing maybe one song for real. I played one song that night. Level was late as hell. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm almost positive that it was, because it was definitely 4 pills that were orange and blue. And to my knowledge, that's extended release Vyvanse. And as he's coming up on stage, he's like in front of the mic and he's like sticking his tongue out. And then I want to say he played like, Is That Purple I Smell? Let me hit that. That's what it was called.
Yeah.
He played like 3 or 4 songs and fucking deuced out. Immediately left. Fox, same thing.
Really?
He played a couple songs. He played Jigga Train first. Played a couple songs, played Jigga Train again, might have played one song, and I want to say he like hit the Jigga Train hook again, and then he
what
left.
else he's gonna play?
We were like rushing trying to get a picture with him, and there is a picture of me and Danny and him, but like we're rushing so quick trying to get it that like I have like hair in my face. Me, Sam, and Matrix, and Danny would mostly be the ones traveling to all these other shows, though, with Danny's aunt and uncle. A lot of times we were packing up like fucking sardines into fucking JTM's shitty ass Land Rover and having JTM.
Hey,
bring us
whenever you got
everywhere.
one, he's good for a ride,
Bro, that's why anytime he calls me, I'm like, dog, don't even gotta say it. If I'm off of work, I'm on the way.
I remember he took the fucking back road route back from one of the Mississippi shows in what he would call the shit box.
the Dakota.
It was a fucking when they had that white van for a solid
that's right.
12 months maybe before that went to hell too. It would be leaking coolant. We just get out in the middle of fucking like North St. Helena Parish on a back road.
Yeah, somewhere you don't want to
And
be
then-
with shit leaking.
Well, I shouldn't tell that part. But halfway through the drive, you realize his fucking license is suspended.
Yeah, oh, of course.
I checked this shit. I was working at the OMV at the time. I checked this shit. Like, bro, your license is suspended. That's how I found out.
Bro,
I was like, looked this shit up. I'm like, wait a second, dude. We just drove to Mississippi.
I was always the fucked up designated driver back then. No license at all. His mom was, like the lady we were gonna buy him from was saying that there was a big storm one night and the mom like picked up all her babies but left him outside and was just gonna like leave him out in the rain. He got like kind of sick, I think, but they called us and was like, hey, if you want him, you gotta come take him now instead of waiting 3 weeks. So we got him at fucking 3 weeks old, and Cass would bring him to her job and feed him and shit, bottle feed his ass. We just took them everywhere with us.
You know, just life was lifing. Life took a different turn.
I was cutting up again.
Well, you that's kind of the point. Like,
you
started young, you know, in 2000s fucking Baton Rouge, man.
Yeah, and you get clean for a little bit, and then you kind of get like head on your shoulders. You're like, well, I can handle just, if I was only doing pills and that was my problem, well, maybe I'll just start drinking now finally. So like I start drinking late, and I mean still early because it was like 17, 18, but comparatively to everybody else, it was,
you were doing.
Yeah, exactly. And that in turn, like hanging out with girls that are doing crazy shit and, the wrong friends and stuff.
Yeah.
And, you get around heroin and you end up trying it. Now, that was one thing that I never really did truly enjoy because I didn't even like opiates that much anyway. Bars were my real problem.
Yeah, as long as I've known you, you said you didn't like opiates.
Yeah, like once I'd done it a handful of times, probably like 10 or 12 times. And when I got to the point where I was like able to shoot up myself, then I was like, okay, I need to change my life.
Yeah.
Because that was kind of like I don't even know how it ended up being so, but it was a rude awakening. Like, damn, I'm like to the point where I don't even need to be around people that have the shit I need to do this. I need to chill,
Yeah.
So I quit fucking with a lot of people, and I was trying to get my shit straight again and get my life on track. I was selling plasma and just really just trying to do anything but work, or I wasn't skating, I wasn't focusing on music. Like I ended up dating a girl that had me doing like Roxy's and stuff, not shooting up. And I'd ended up like buying musical equipment with like some of the money we were making selling drugs and doing other little things on the side, but I never really like brought it back to fruition until I got clean again.
Yeah, because you're definitely you've tipped me off to like a lot of stuff just from your experiences. And like I feel like I know a lot, I've experienced a lot, but there's certain things I haven't had the experience to as you.
Well, I stopped hanging out with the people that I needed to quit being around. I broke up with that girl, and we were living together in an apartment with some people, and a whole nother fucking bag of worms happened there.
Yeah.
And we had to move in with my dad and his girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up kicking her out because it's just this like perpetual state of purgatory. The only money we're racking in is like her going out to eat with the sugar daddy and shit. And so I'm like, I can't be doing this shit no more. And we were supposed to be being clean. My dad finds needles and stuff. So it's like a whole ordeal getting her kicked out and all this shit. So he like tells me, hey, you're fucking 19 years old, 18 or 19. I forget how old I was at the time. Like, it's time to get your shit straight. Otherwise, I'm kicking you out. Yeah. You got 2 weeks to get a job. You need to start paying rent. So like my dad helped me. My dad pushed me a lot. It was always that, like.
Yeah.
And with Meet Me on the Playground, like he had bought us all fucking matching purple Marshall half stacks. Like that's how we were playing shows. So he like really, yeah, he like really pushed me, and I really just used music as my therapy.
Look, we about to just drop an unreleased tape. I might do a single first called Beautiful Sight, and then after that, we're just dropping an unreleased tape, get all that music out the way. And I'm not going to say the name yet, but I do have an album more than halfway through. 7 songs in right now. Heart and Soul will be coming soon. I feel like that's the hit.
Got pain in my heart, but love in my soul. Never know which way it'll go. Go, 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 go. Pain in my heart, but love in my soul. Never know which way it'll go. Go, go, go. Got pain in my heart, but love in my soul. My mind is on pro, stay in control. Your heart is your home. Just follow the road. Pain in my heart, but love in my soul. Never know which way it'll go.
Feel like we got something with that. If you've had the chance of seeing me live, you've probably experienced that song before. It always gets a good reaction. Shout out Ben Bryce, Renaissance man, if you will. We did
Got
two
It
songs. We did Got It Like and Till I'm Dead. No, he actually did Got It Like for free because he was like just getting his start. Well, I don't know if he was just getting his start, but he was trying to get his name out there. Yeah, and that's been the homie for a long time. Like metal scene. We dated girls that were friends, you know, of course.
Poeticism is my religion, enlighten myself for new beginnings. I'm straight to the point for introductive intentions.
Yeah, honestly,
That's the last song.
that's the first thing I did as John Teller too. Yeah, you asked me what I was gonna call myself, and I told you John Teller on that. That was the first time I fully decided to stick with that. There are definitely some eerie vibes in the Lincoln Theater or Lincoln Hotel. Lincoln Hotel. They say I guess you would call it spiritually unaware, kind of scare away the presence of past feelings that a building might hold, which is why a lot of people actually go urbexing too, the historical aspect of it.
I'm an activist with this rapping shit. Hyperactive, sporadic, flow so cold. I never premeditate my tactics. Spring right into action on the front line, knocking them down like Jedediah does.
It was a step forward in getting our ideas out, you know. I think we did two-step after that.
So don't be asking how I acted sick. It's been natural since I was just a kid like Oswald Rocket. Now I'm getting longer pockets.
With DQ Rogers, the big homie. Yep. After that was what? Plan C. Yeah, we accidentally pulled up on a Mr. Fluid, I think a CD release, Facing the What. We shot that at the, I forget exactly what it's called, but it's the Baptist church off of Prescott and Mohican.
And this is just bars. You see, this is just bars for when you're slow riding in cars or when you're.
That's low key. As of right now, that's my best song out. Like, you want to see lyrical capability, not to toot my own fucking horn, but that shit's hard. Those are some sick shots too with the picture frames and shit. I put that in the Everything We Do Is Limited chat, and Lord Fubu was like, "Damn, John, you rapping, huh?" What up, baby? Oh, well, I also completely forgot about Limelight. I did that myself. That was the first video I dropped myself. Just a bunch of rapping, and we were in the graffiti alley in Lafayette, and then a bunch of naval-based shots that Danny helped me get. Little too effect heavy. Yeah, and Human Nature. I didn't think about that. That's my best video.
Next 100 miles can feel the stomping. Give me any beat and I'll start chomping.
Lafayette's that second home, though. They're shitting on BR when it comes to food. Rest in peace, Wing Fingers. The biggest shout out of this whole thing, Traverse. That goes to him for sure. Everybody follow that man. If you like any type of music of any kind, be into what he's doing in Lafayette. Plus the first one I played was the Festival International Magnolia Shed.
Really?
That same year, I want to say, or maybe it was 2018. That was actually when I first performed Human Nature. That was like the first time I like truly found myself on stage as John Teller.
Where everybody else focused on what everybody else doing. See each song.
Me and Flo, our first Fade the Flow was the same show. We opened up for Cesar Comanche and Ghost Dog. That was the coolest underground hip-hop show in Baton Rouge at Uppercuts Barbershop.
Shout out Marcel P. Black.
Shout out Soul Lab. And Mark Dub. Part man, part thug. Oh, he'll have a lot to say about me for sure, too.
Oh, yeah.
And the green beans. I'll bet anybody money he's going to mention the green beans first. We just stayed in contact ever since. Yeah, and played shows here and there. He's booked me a few times, and we just became real good friends and wanted to do a collab tape. We actually worked on it for probably a year, almost two, and finally buckled down during COVID to get it out.
I learn to cherish every moment that I have while I have it. I know if everything lasts forever, we'll be stagnant. You'll be lacking for days, like the days ago and long. That's why I've been gone.
That's when I proposed to Cass in Colorado. Everybody thinks it's a great picture, and they're always like, how did he take that picture and propose at the right time? Like, no, we just faked it.
to get a good picture. Yeah, I started working at McDonald's at 19.
That was the point where you broke into basically being a chef.
Yeah, pretty much.
For those who don't know, you're a banquet sous chef.
Yeah.
At Baton Rouge Country Club.
Almost a decade now.
Come on.
I get that
you put a lot of people on.
Get that 15 days paid vacation next year.
Come on.
Yeah, buddy.
That's big. You'll be like, oh boy, you said it gets like 30. It's like a month.
Yeah. You almost forget my ass works there. I'll be gone so long.
Yeah. So, I mean, but you broke off cleaning your life up.
Yeah, and you know, like, obviously I hated McDonald's, but you give fucking 50 to 60% of your effort and you're working harder than everybody in there.
Yeah.
So I got promoted pretty quickly from the normal guy to trainer to shift leader. So I was like making all right money for working at McDonald's. My homeboy Josh that I started meeting me on the playground with, he was washing dishes there, got promoted to a banquet cook.
Oh, so that's how you first broke in.
Yeah, and him and Lou helped me get a job there.
Come on.
I don't think Lou was working there when I first started, though.
Yeah.
And he eventually came back after I started.
JTM worked there for a little while.
Yeah, I got him on. After, like, growing up.
You tried to get me on.
I did. I tried to get a lot of people on. Tony, yeah. I got Brody on, and he fucked it up. Shout out, Brody. Danny.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, all type of people.
Can't everybody hang in that place, man? It's a different kind of thing. I just saw you working outside the other day with some brick ovens.
Yeah, like, bro, I be there, and I'm there like 14 hours, 15 hours a day sometimes. Like the pizza, you know? We did almost fucking 300 pizzas on Memorial Day while also having a buffet on the inside. And I'm fucking running from one kitchen to the pool kitchen to the fitness center to outside where the pizza oven's at. You know?
Yeah, I mean, if you ever want to figure out, you know, sometimes John will just decide he wants to fucking sous vide fried chicken for everybody.
Yeah,
You're
you know,
like, am I gonna, sounds good. What is that?
Am I going to cook after work? Probably not. But on an off day,
you do quite often because, well, I feel like for you cooking, like it's not like most people. You like got it. It's like me with like filming and stuff. It's like you get carried away probably.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's like I look over and you and Phosphine are like, just you know, like the dude in Goodfellas with the garlic. You're just like slicing paper thin fucking like bell pepper, red pepper.
We did broccoli stalk in that. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about that coleslaw, that vinegar-based coleslaw.
Jesus Christ.
That shit was good as hell, though.
Mashed potatoes. Woo! All that. That sounds good about right
We need to just do that meal specifically again.
Name a couple things, maybe or some of your favorite things like that you've done. Because, like, you make good, like, soul food or whatever, you know, comfort food, but like you could make some shit a lot of motherfuckers ain't never heard of.
I just be making my own shit up, you know.
It.
But I had kind of like it was like a take on Spanish style food, but I wanted to bring like the American, you know, like Southwest and Tex-Mex kind of aspect to it. So I take almost a fajita spice and sear a salmon with the skin on until it's medium. And you have like a black bean paste on the bottom. And then you take like a classic sofrito sauce, which would be like the Spanish aspect of it. And I had that on the top with like a Brussels sprout slaw.
Wow.
You know, all types of stuff.
Brussels sprout slaw.
Yeah, like you take them on a mandolin and put the julienne blade on there, so it's like really, really thin strips. You make the slaw out of that.
The mezzaluna.
Yeah.
They kind of come apart. Like, how do you even?
Well, it's like a little mini cabbage, you know.
Yeah, that's all it is.
It's like, I guess it's like making miniature coleslaw.
Wouldn't it need to be hard?
Yeah, you don't cook it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You do it while it's raw.
Keep it raw.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Just as you would the cabbage for a coleslaw, you don't cook that, so.
Okay, yeah, I got you. It makes it that more like spicy.
Yeah, but see, you know, I didn't have much texture. You know, like the salmon skin gives you like crispiness and stuff, but the black beans, which would normally give you texture, I'd made a paste so I could kind of like paint a black bar across this kind of like opaque dotted coupe bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So like the black dots on the bowl accented with the paste, and that's why I have the red sofrito kind of like going across the salmon. So it was kind of making like a star effect. You know, you have the black beans going one way, the salmon going one way, the tomato sauce going this way, and then you put the Brussels sprouts on top because everything's kind of softer, you know, so you add like your texture to it.
Yeah.
Because that's what like a lot of fine dining and everything is all about. You know, you don't only want to add all of your flavor profiles. You're trying to add as many textures and stuff as you can too, while also making it cohesive on the same dish. You know, like carrots 3 ways. Like I did that one time where you make a carrot puree to rest your beef in. You have roasted carrot sticks on the side, so you have the bite to the carrot still too. And then you can do a carrot foam on top of the...
So to keep the bite, you just roast them quick?
You like flash it quick, really just to get a little tiny bit of color. You know, and you're still cooking the inside, but it has that like still.
Yeah.
And it's still soft after you bite it, but you're giving yourself all of these different, I guess, experiences.
Well, it's having intention because you're describing like all sort of shit.
Correct. Yeah, and you know, they say you eat with your eyes first, so...
Like, but the sauces you're putting on there, like you're making those as well.
Oh yeah, I would definitely technically be the saucier as well too, which is normally the guy that like takes care of making all of the sauces and stuff like that.
Saucier,
I love
boy.
sauces, you know.
Yeah.
Plus, that was like in my introduction to a lot of stuff in the kitchen as well, with like reductions and
Like
how
people-
temperatures work and stuff.
You might see like a big ass fucking square ass white plate with like this little fucking tiny like thing in the middle with it. Like,
Yeah,
they don't even know, they don't get it. Like,
And that plays into the texture too, because we'll have like like a, you know, like the dots might be like on this one dish we did. I want to say it was harissa aioli, which is like I think a Haitian version of kind of like cymbal, like Asian chili paste in a sense.
yeah.
They use a different type of pepper and stuff, but it's still like the same kind of concept, a little paste. We made an aioli out of that and had dots of that, but we had dots of an apricot and white peach jam that I made and reduced down on the other sides too, which also had like pieces of the apricot in, so you get a little bit of bite there, the smoothness of the aioli, and then have a scallop crudo in the middle, which is something similar to a ceviche. You let the acid cook it.
Ceviche.
Yeah.
Words like that, man. That reminds me of the time we did the Siki Poo show, the Asian market.
Man,
That
those
was
were some fun times. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody go shout out the Siki Poo show. We did a couple different versions, but the Asian supermarket one was just as a simple idea, but fun because you know we had a couple guys who kind of like really knew what they're talking about, and 2 of us are just like, oh, let's get whatever.
And I torched a bug live.
I remember that now. Yeah, it's like you look back at a lot of stuff. That's a big reason why I like to get into the documentative type of filming, because you just never know what's gonna go down. You know, it's like you want to get all these lights and everything set up and look cinematic, but it's like I always try to remember like it's all about the like people in it and stuff. I knew you were always into like clothes and stuff, but I didn't know like to the extent, I guess, until you started filming all your shit.
Well, you know, like I definitely love fashion, and I'm like huge into streetwear because of the correlation that all of these things, you know, especially hip hop and skateboarding.
It's like alchemy. You can take the hip hop part,
Right.
skateboard. What did this come out of it? You can take the graffiti. You know, we didn't get into graffiti yet.
Oh, with Sect, we went to Exhibit B. I think they started knocking that bitch down. That was a graffiti museum after that apartment complex they got in a ban, and they should have just kept it like that.
It's excitement though.
You might run up on some crazy motherfuckers. That's how it happened.
You get it how you live.
Yeah, but that's how you get the good shit too. Especially when you're in the train yard like that, and then you don't realize how high up they have to be to paint that shit until you get right up next to a fucking train on the tracks. Then you're actually like, what the fuck? How are they doing this shit? it's not just art. Like, you think about it. Like, if you can't do a tag in under 10 seconds and a fucking throw up in under 10 minutes, really just a normal throwing, if you can't do that in under a minute,
Yeah, no, it's super.
you getting in trouble. Yeah, you know, you gotta know how to be quick and hide in the streets. It's an art in itself. Just trying to get to doing it.
Spider-Man type.
Yeah. Some Ninja Turtles type shit. Stay in the shadows, baby. Jingle All the Way. Schwarzenegger classic. Started the hat collecting super early on. I'll be showing off all these on the Instagram soon. Just got done filming all those. I got a bunch of others too. With that Bathing 8 bandana. You can cop one of these on the website. You can cop one of these on the website. And you can cop one of these on the website. If you join the broadcast channel on my Instagram page, John Teller Hats and Wraps, then you can get a discount code for 20% off any order, any size of an order. So as much as I love like clothes and streetwear and stuff, I've always still at the same time had more of like a relaxed style. Like I just wear like joggers and cool gym shorts
for
for
the
the most.
Tony Soprano shirt necessarily all the time.
So I started doing all that just to, you know, fitted hats, snapbacks. That's always been a huge topic in rap. So I thought, you know, especially when I'm playing shows, you know, like wearing a Everything We Do Is Limited hat or wearing a hat like this Void hat.
Yeah, I was going to say, go ahead. Now's the time.
Shout out Void. Definitely need to check this out.
So tell me about this one. Because I probably didn't know
I
what
actually
this was.
really don't know much about this guy. I found him recently, but he's just a dope-ass designer that takes everybody's favorite animes and makes hats, or he'll make printed jeans, or if anybody's a big fan of the anime Berserk, he's like creating a backpack that looks like the sword from Berserk right now.
This one's Neon.
Yeah, Neon Genesis Evangelion. Very highly regarded, but also controversial anime. Not only because of some of what goes on in the show, but because they have multiple remakes and alternate endings to
one
everything.
of the only animes I've gone start to finish on. And that was that time period around the Sicky Poo show. It was during quarantine. You know, we were all also hanging out with Philosophy a lot. We were watching a lot of anime and stuff. And that one just hit me.
Yeah, it's a great one.
I noticed it was a little older. I noticed it was like from 95. I noticed the art looked a little bit more like the type of shit I watched. It was exposed to when I was like younger.
Yeah.
So let me try this out because I watched all the way through Full Metal Alchemist.
Okay.
I know you got a tattoo of that shit.
But on the hats, so that just, I felt like it was another way for me to just post more often. And
Yes.
it was giving me, at least hopefully, I hope it seems like this to other people, it gave me a sense of intent too. Because I had something every Monday I was posting a hat. And I could plug my song on the back end. And at the end of the video, like, hey, check out my song. Check out my new website, this and that. And then it made me think like, hey, I should be showing off the shoes too. Maybe I'll do fits to coincide with the hats.
Just fully delegating to like a mentality, I think, because it's like
and experimenting.
I feel like there's a lot about you. That's why I wanted to do this with you specifically in this way. I feel like there's a lot about you where people are like, holy shit, I didn't know that at all.
Right, and it was also something to help me get more comfortable in front of the camera, and it's just a way to practice working on things on your own, getting into a good way to figure out your flow and everything.
Whenever I started realizing like there might be people out there who like need to hear the shit you're saying.
And if I'm collecting all these hats over all these years, and you know, some of them I don't even wear often or at all anymore, so why not show them off? Why, you know, they're just sitting there collecting dust. Let's do something with them. I can show you me cleaning them while I plug a song in, and that actually turned into a thing. Like right now, I've been buying vintage hats, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm probably gonna start
You know, check out my eBay, my Depop. You know, I do have some fire new hats out there and stuff too. If you're not getting hat club drops, go check out my fucking eBay. I might have one that you don't have. Oh, and you can definitely expect to see merch, you know, like coinciding with these hat videos and things coming soon, because I've been working on
We're both kind of getting better at managing that.
Yeah.
All these things, you know?
But I gotta sell all this shit, and then I'm gonna start doing all the like vintage hats. And I was thinking, if I'm doing like the sports team, you know, I gotta do sports cards. Do a John Teller baseball card, John Teller basketball card. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's gonna be sick. And like hide them in orders. Like you can't buy it, you could just get it in an order, and that'll give you like discount codes and shit. That's a good idea, right? I'll do it with just the hats to like get people to buy the hats, and it's kind of like a play on what Fubu and everything we do is limited does. Like every now and then you buy a hat from them, you might actually get like an old school baseball card or two of them. Yeah, but it's an actual baseball card. I want to make baseball cards of me, but in each sport. And then like maybe everybody I've done a feature with, make a card for them or something, and you can collect these cards to get discount codes or a free shirt or two things of your choice or stuff like that, you know.
It's JedtheSloth, the MILF Hunter. How your mom and them? And that's a wrap on episode 8 of the Playbaw Podcast with John Teller. This special in-depth podumentary episode was a colossal undertaking for me. So if you really liked it, like this video and subscribe to the White Dirt YouTube. John and I have been close personal friends for nearly a decade, and I've been following him around and filming him for years. And I've always told him, I'm gonna make a documentary about you. And it looks like we did it. So if you like what John Teller got going on, follow him on social media at John Teller Hats and Raps. As well as go check out his website, THETELLERVERSE.com. Who has a website nowadays? Isn't that awesome? So this is JedtheSloth, the MILF Hunter. And this has been episode 8 of the Playbaw Podcast.